Hey guys, how you doing? This is Spirit Journey. Yes, it's Wednesday morning and I'm out with the gang. Yes, today is Wednesday, August 26th, 2020, and the time is about 8:06 a.m. And of course, I'm with the gang. Oh, show the little gang. There you go. Yeah, that's them. They love it. They love being in the little stroller. Yeah. Yeah, so yes, good morning. I want to try to, I want to make an effort getting up and out and walk my little gang. Um, yeah, I want to, in the morning it's cooler. It's been really getting hot, but not right now. I feel a cool breeze. It's a little cool, and maybe I should have brought a sweater. Yeah, so what is going on? Uh, I feel okay this morning. Um, okay, I have to turn over a little bit. Sidewalk is being redone. Yeah, it's being redone. Um, let's see. Yeah, I actually awakened early this morning. I, Oops. I had gotten up early because I went to sleep early and I had my videos playing in the background. Yeah, it's really getting bad. It's very addictive, folks. Very, very addictive. Uh, the internet and the devices. I really have to wean myself off. But what I want to talk about today, let's see. Well, yeah, I want to talk about. I wrote down two things I wanted to talk about, but with my videos, it can go on and on and on. So, let me turn it. Sorry about that. So, let's see. The first thing I want to talk about. A YouTuber, one of my subscribers, had sent me a link to a video about this woman. The woman's name, it's an American woman from South Carolina. Her name is Sabrina Belcher. Sabrina Belcher. She is running for an office position, mayor of some town in South Carolina. And she's also a rap singer. She is only 29 years old. I thought she was in her 40s. Well, she's 29, and guess what? Let me get my hair. Guess what? Well, she had done a Jussie Smallette. Yes, she did. Let's see. Yeah. She did a Jussie Smallette. He said, what do you mean? Well, she had her, she was filming live on Facebook Live. And she was in her car. And then someone busts into her car and starts beating her and calling her names. And she called it into, she went to the cops and said that she was kidnapped and beaten up. And she gave her statement. Well, they were checking out her claim. If I remember right, they did ask her about the assailant. And she gave a false name, the article said, of the assailant, and they checked it out. I guess maybe phone records, and that they were in connection. Just like Smallette, there was a phone messages that there was a connection that she and somebody else. I guess when they investigated who the fella was, and the video, they put two and two together that they knew each other, and she confessed. So Sabrina Belcher confessed, and she did it to win sympathy. To win sympathy over the voting, so people want to vote for her. And I said to myself, what is happening to Black America? I have compassion for us, and why this stupidity to get attention and use the race card, or you're the victim of a violent crime by a man. You know how many women are abused by men? And people who are racially targeted in this country? And then you're making the rest of the Black community look stupid. And not to take us seriously. You're hurting not just yourself, you're hurting us also. So shame on you, Sabrina Belcher. What could make someone that desperate? And there was some other things she wanted to harass her opponents, who are going for mayor also of her town. Her city. It is a bad mindset to do that. I hate it. Yes, call it out. Call it out. Black folk, call it out so that you have higher standards than that. You demand higher standards because, see, if you don't call it out, these idiots in our Black community are going to continue with the foolishness of thinking, we're going to feel sorry for you. You know what's going to make people want to vote for you? By doing good things. By doing good things. Not feeling like a victim. See, someone to vote for someone because they feel sorry for them, that's a weakness. You should, Black folk, have people want to vote for you because of your strength, your character. We do all this church stuff. We do all this church stuff, and we come out stupid, right? And some people are saying that it's a Democratic ticket, that the Democrats are about foolishness. Anybody could be a fool, but wow. Is this the type of, this year is the year of foolery in America. And I wanted to stop. We just, you're so desperate. Why do you want to be mayor so desperately? If you have to lie and make people feel sorry for you to get into office, what is that saying about you as an individual? It's really pathetic. So, yeah, I haven't heard anything about Smallette. They had charged him with filing a false police report. But it got distracted with the sex scandal with, what's his name? Harry Weinstein? Henry? I forget his name, something Weinstein. Yeah. So it's like when one thing starts, something else takes its place, you know? Yeah. So there was something else. Let's see. Yeah, I wanted to talk also about Kamala Harris. I've already talked about her several times, and what I want to talk about today with regard to her, uh, she's the Democratic ticket for Vice President of America. Um, I saw a video, and it discussed, okay, it discussed that her father's ancestors in Jamaica were slaveholders. Now, boy, I got angry. And I'll explain why I got angry. Now, I'm not a fan, sorry, I am not a fan of Kamala Harris. I would not vote for Biden or her. I just don't feel comfortable with either of them. But to use that, say again, it's race baiting amongst the black community to prevent us from voting for her. And again, I'm not going to vote for her. But it's a cheap shot because, okay, her ancestors, you do not choose your ancestors. Okay, you have what you have. And whatever what your great, 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 great grandparent did, come on. If you go in anybody's past, you're going to find skeletons because we're human and we do bad things as human beings. But the connection, where to get this from? Okay, now Kamala Harris's father is a Jamaican. He's from the north side of Jamaica, and he has his grandmother's great 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 grandmother was she was actually this woman married the son of a former slave owner. Okay, so it wasn't the documents that I had. It was post-slavery, but the family had the son, and that son married a black woman of some type. This family was mega rich. They owned at least 5 plantations. I'm not sure whether it's 200 slaves in each plantation or 200 total, but he had a lot, and it was considered a lot. 5 plantations, and plantations in the West Indies are big. I had visited the West Indies before, Martinique to be exact, and the plantations were huge. Yeah, they're real huge. So, so they had, a child. Now again, they were married. And again, whether you're the son of a plantation owner, it's after slavery, and you marry, and you have a child. But they want to link that and say, well, she's descendants of a slaver. Well, again, it's post-slavery and consensual. But the hot button of it is when Kamala Harris says that she's descendants of slaves. Sure, you live in the West Indies and you go way back and you're a black person, you bet. So they never mention who that girl who they married, that the son married, I'm sure she came from a descendant of slaves. So what is the issue? And in America, you have people who are Black Americans, and the genetics of the so-called average Black American, who worked directly here as slaves, to become enslaved, they 25% of their genetics is European slash slaveholder, right? So 25% of their genes. What is it saying? That virtually anyone in America has an ancestor who most likely was the slaveholder. Because who's going to have access to those women? Overwhelmingly, the time, when slavery got, a stronghold, it wasn't the white female and the Black male slave. It was the Black female slave and the white slaveholder. Okay, that was the usual. And so anybody that you do the ancestry test of, you're going to have most likely that white ancestor probably was not really, it was if it wasn't, see again, what happens in the bedroom, only the two parties know. Was it consensual? There could have been benefits of a woman, just like today, a woman getting involved with a person of power. You don't think that woman could influence that man? Ladies, right? Whether a slave or not. You don't think that person got food or special treatment? Right? If he's going to sleep with her, I'm sure he's the only one that's sleeping with her. No man wants his slave woman with different men. He selected her for whatever reason. Okay? Right? And it's throughout all of the Americas. Virtually, you look at Brazil. You don't think the people in Brazil, that their ancestry, they might be classified as Black? That their ancestor wasn't a slaveholder? So they're going to try to spook the general Black population here, persuade them to not vote for her because of that info, that her bloodline had slaveholders. It's a cheap shot. But I want to share with you something more of a personal issue with regard to that. This cross. I did share the information before in a video that I did a couple of years ago. I shared my DNA, and my background is the Caribbean. I was born here. It was my grandparents that came to the United States of America. Two of them, they were on the island of St. Croix, and the U.S. Bought the island, just like they bought Puerto Rico, and it became a possession. So those people become citizens, and then they enter the U.S. The other two grandparents, what was that now? Oh, this is nice. Let me show this. So, look at that. I had to show that. I hope I got it. That was pretty. Let me fix the camera. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, my other two parents, um, they're from Martinique, and that's a French, overseas French department. Okay. And then they came to the U.S. They all came around the same time in the early 1920s. And my grandparents that lived in St. Croix, they did not know each other. But they arrived around the same time. It's really something. You look at the records. And they came through Ellis Island. So, okay. So, on my mother's side, it's more known about my mother's side. It always seems like that. How about on your side? Do you know more about your mother's people than your father's people? It's always the female line that seems to have more information. But anyway, this, sorry, sorry, I'm a little distracted here. I have to cross the street. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, what was I saying now? Yeah, with Ancestry, you have on my mother's side, we know more about, and I have a cousin who did research on the family, and it turns out that the records of the time of when slavery got abolished in Martinique in 1848. In 1848, slavery got abolished in Martinique, and the record shows, okay, when in Martinique, when the slavery abolished, each individual had to register for citizenship in the town that they lived in, whole families. And I have this paper, and I did share it on the internet. So you have her name. Her first name was Delphine. Well, it turns out, with the records, you find in the European system, they document everything, people. So they document when you're born, when you die, what children you have, who you're married to. They document everything. And so on this paper, one of the many things that they documented on it, and everything was written by hand in script. And it indicated that she was 14 years old at the end of slavery, when slavery got abolished, and that she was pregnant. She had her baby. The baby was born free. So sometime, hi. She had a cute little stroller with the two baby puppies. Those Yorkie types. Real tiny. So. Yeah, so she was 14, and it takes like 9 months to have a baby. So was that baby consummated what do you call it? Conceived, I'm not custom, conceived during slavery or after, you know? Well, not only was this baby born free, but who the father was. Wow. She got pregnant, and it indicated who the man was. The man was a planter. They use another term. See, different countries, different languages, like the French, the French speak French, and they have different terminologies. It starts with a P. It means like a business owner, proprietor, something like that. But when I looked up the word meant business owner. What's the business? Yeah? The business was enslaving people for a plantation. I don't know what type of plantation he had. I just assumed it was sugarcane. They have a lot of bananas there now, but sugarcane was a main crop, and they made rum out of that sugar. I don't know why you need rum, but either way, yeah, they used the rum to sell to Africans to get them drunk and take more people. Anyway, so I stay quiet now. Yeah, so she got impregnated by this planter, slaveholder. Most likely, they don't say. But see, that family is a very well-known family on the island also. The Cochran family, or English they would call it the Cochran family. Okay, and they go all the way back to 1650 something on their entry into that island, and they stayed. And they arrived from Cork County, Ireland. The lady's maiden name was Connor, spelled with an E at the end, and his name was Cochran or Cochran. And I think that's like a Anglo-Saxon, Irish. I don't know what type of name. I think that could be Irish also. But either way, that's the port they came in. They weren't French. At least they didn't come out from French territory. But they stayed. And that family, the Cochran family, married French people with French names. Okay. But either way, so they go way back on that island. And she had, my ancestor, had 10 babies with him. She initially had the first one, right at the year slavery ended in Martinique. And then I think she had a second one. Then it looks like he left and moved, I guess, to some other part of the island, and then he had a baby with this other woman. He had 1 or 2 children with her, and then he left. I don't know what race that other woman was. Okay, also I have to add that my ancestor, the woman, she was his second woman. His first woman, his wife, was a white woman, white French lady, but she died 2 years after the baby. Okay, and so that branch of the family, they live here in the Bronx. Yeah. They had only 1 child, and then after the wife died, he met up with my ancestor. They had the 2, and then he leaves or goes somewhere else on the island, has at least 2 kids with her, and then he leaves her and comes back to my ancestor and has 8 more children with her. So why I'm saying this? Okay, it is pretty obvious that he was a slaveholder. He's not going to do that work. He's a major landowner, ruling group of that area.
Funny, because when both of our tires are on the ground.
But okay, so what is the whole point? Well, it turns out in the records that he married her. That's right. 50 years later, I kid you not. And it's written on that document, like I mentioned about when you get your citizens paper, and they write down everything. It's like in their town hall. Every member of that town, their citizenship papers are stored there. And so they had a document when her own biological parents got married. So now, see, you only can get the name of your mother. If you're not married, you cannot take the man's name, last name, if you're a child. So when the parents got legally married, because again, slaves couldn't marry, her slave parents, when they got their so-called dependents, they married soon after slavery ended. And so now the daughter is able to get her biological father's name. And then when she married the planter / slave owner or former slave owner, he married her and she got his name. And so they had to write that on that document. So I thought it was really interesting with history. It was a shocker to see that. So things like that happen. People, you have an island, and you have, I guess, I can only speculate it's a shortage of women. Okay, and you don't want to marry your cousin, your sister, your cousin, grandma, auntie. You have to have children with somebody. And so I just speculate in that small town that that's what some men did. Okay. So they did marry, but 50 years after the birth of their first child. So he was 80 years old when he married my ancestor. 50. I mean, she was 8. I'm sorry. He was 80 years old, but it was 50 years from the birth of their first child, and they had 10 together. Yeah, all of them survived, to my knowledge, yeah. And so she was about in her 60s. So a 60-year-old woman and an 80-year-old guy. He died around 1801. I'm sorry, 1901. 1901, around that time. We don't know when she passed away. For whatever reason, you can't find that record. So, what do you do? Ladies, modern day woman, those of you who got this far in this video, what would you do? You are a woman, and women aren't allowed to own property, okay, back then. You're either someone's wife or somebody's daughter. And I also speculate that they married because, see, if you're not married, your children are illegitimate, and illegitimate children cannot inherit anything. You can give them gifts while they're alive, but you cannot not an inheritance / land. So what do you do? I mean, so they married, so the kids could be legitimate, And I guess the oldest child, which is the oldest boy, gets all the property. In French law, I think that's how it went back then. The eldest son inherits everything. So they didn't have. So my grandmother, when she came, she didn't have anything. She didn't own property or anything like that. So someone could have an ancestor who was mega rich, but if you're a female, you don't get. You cannot inherit. So yeah, as I was going to say, ladies, what will you do if, let's say, this country gets occupied by a foreign nation, and the ruling group propositions you? Do you go there, or you say no? If they offer you marriage, would you accept it? That was foolish. Your woman is walking away. She's pregnant. She's walking away from her dog, about to cross the street, and the dog has to take care of business. And some people say, "Hey, you're leaving your dog. Your dog is." Either way, yeah. What will you do, ladies? It's a sticky situation. My ancestor. She couldn't change the history of slavery. And he offers to marry her so she can get the inheritance. Would you say no? So it's something, the relationship between a man and a woman. So I know, like American TV, it's nothing glamorous about being a slave. I wouldn't want it. But what is slavery? Slavery is about not having control over your life and someone else. Right? That's in essence what it is. Plus it's the psychological control of it all. But what would you do? So again now, getting back to Kamala Harris. So you have people. Yeah.
It looks kind of tight.
I know, it's all good.
You'll be okay?
Yeah, just go on the edge.
We don't want the little doggies to drown.
Yeah. It's a puddle, big puddle. Yeah, I got it, went around it. I was waiting for him to go first. Yeah. So Kamala Harris. Similar situation. People, you have man and woman. And so technically in my family, I have ancestors who were slaveholders. You can't separate. I mean, it happened. There are people who are raped. You cannot. Well, these dogs don't have leashes on. Wow, that dog jumped. Man, that dog jumped high. Sure, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, this is early morning, and the dogs are allowed off the leash, I think in certain locations. So you just can't have, when they're big like that, they could have, oh well. So yeah, I think it's unfair to, even though I'm not a Kamala fan, I think it's unfair to talk about that she's descendant of a slaveholder. And that's putting, and American blacks are very sensitive about things like that, about slavery. But slavery was in Jamaica before it hit the United States. Right? Yeah, it's they were all slaves. it really is a cheap shot. So what do you do? What should I mean? Kamala, I don't trust her. Something I don't trust about her. I feel she's trying to do that an Obama is being attempted. There's a there's obscurification of her background, and that makes me uneasy. I like people who are pretty much straightforward. Trump is pretty much straightforward. What you see is what you get. Yep. So I may not have to like someone's behavior, you know. Uh, yeah, it's a busy street here. The bicycles. It's a blind curve, so I have to, I want to position myself so they could see me. Hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, most of us. If you go in any family that's been in this country long enough, you're gonna have relatives.
Once we're stopping at the light.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The bicyclists aren't stopping at the light. It was a red light, and you had a jogger who wanted to cross. That's what happened to the cops. I let them cross. Good. That's good. Okay. Yo, let me show you. We have a lot of cyclists and joggers. Yeah, so it's probably around 8:30 in the morning right now. Okay, it's beautiful. Yeah, this is like for like weather. It's breezy, perfect day for walking your dog. Yeah, my dogs. Mhm. A tiny dog off the leash. Yeah, people. Wow. Yeah, people walking their dogs. Oh, look at this beautiful dog. That is beautiful. Yeah. So I say I've been on for 43 minutes now. Oh, my favorite spot. The water, the twinkle. See how the water is twinkling? Oh, this is beautiful. Look at it. You see that, what I'm seeing? Absolutely beautiful. Sigh. Yeah, so I don't feel comfortable with Kamala. And but I think for her opposition to use that and knowing the history of the West Indies and Jamaica and knowing her father is of black heritage and then throw that one in it, that one in, I think it's I think a part it's colorism again. She's a lighter skinned mixed race. She's about the same complexion as her father. But I feel that I'm just going to say what I feel. They don't like the fact that of her black ancestor, her black father, they don't like the fact, Lala, what? What, Lala? What's going on? What, I'm walking. I'm walking. I don't know what she wants. Someone step on your toe? I'll find out. She barks again. Yeah, they're all looking straight. See that? Okay, I'll see if anything else happens. Getting back to Kamala's father. By the way, his name is Donald. But I think it's colorism and jealousy that American blacks have against her. So even if, let's say, both of her parents were black heritage, the fact that she's coming from the West Indies, her background from West Indies, and that she's light, is classified, would be classified as a light-skinned black. They don't like it. What's up, Peanut? What? What's wrong? Yeah, and that's what I really think what it is. So they're using it as a weapon against her, that they come from, they were established. And they were saying, like, oh, well, how is he able to afford to do this or that? Oh, it's because when his ancestors was a slave owner. It's a whole West Indies. Come on. You know that they have Thomas Jefferson. There's a video that I saw the thumbnail of it. Thomas Jefferson had children with a mixed race woman and a white woman, and both set of the families were at a talk because they want access to the burial site of Jefferson. And as you know, Jefferson was a president, and he was a major slaveholder. Yeah, the president of the United States. So, are you going to say something against those descendants? You don't think those descendants, the black half of his descendants, you don't think that they benefit something financially? Really, right? There are a lot of people. Or how about the lady? This congressman, Thurgood, I think, Thurman, or I forget his name, but he was a senator, and he was 100 years old, and he was a segregationist, and he talked really ugly about black people. Well, his first love was a black woman. Yeah. And he had a kid with this black woman that worked in his house, his parents' house. And of course, she had to leave. But you know what it turns out? He supported the daughter, and the daughter was in her 70s, and she was still getting money from him. And she knew who he was. They met several times, but they had to keep it hush-hush. See, a lot of people, when you really know what's going on beyond closed doors, you have people who want to fit a scenario of the big bad guy. Yeah, a lot of them are bad guys, real trashy white dudes who rape women. But some of those unions is not rape. But because of the social environment, they cannot openly show affection or marry. Yeah, it was illegal to marry someone in America outside of your race. So they had to keep the relationship quiet. And even though he was a horrible segregationist, this man, I commend him for taking care of financially his daughter and pay for her college. I kid you not. Excuse me. You have people today who do not support their children. So at least I commend him for taking that responsibility and paying for her upkeep. And yeah, she got into a sorority and all that. And so she got connected. Yes, being descendant of a slave owner, or a family of slave owners, and can be of course, there's some financial benefit to the receiver of that. You bet. But it's not too. It is what it is. And you know, there's people right now who are being enslaved. Right now, August 2020, you have people who are being human trafficked. You have parents who sell their children for a morsel of food. And it really angers me. And you know what else? I was watching this program, also on YouTube. Her last name is Painter. She wrote a book in 2010 called Why Are White People Called Caucasians? Fantastic. She gave a talk about it. Fantastic. It's a fantastic lecture. Oh, what's the point I was going to bring out about her? Oh, she mentioned about there was a slave trade. See, we all assume just Africans. But before the transatlantic slave trade that is so popularly known, yes, Lilac? As popularly known in the Americas, you had a major trade. Yeah. You had a major trade in what do you call it? It's like near Turkey, the Black Sea, whatever the Black Sea is. So you had the Black Sea, and wrong. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me get my bearing. Yeah, you had the Black Sea area. There was a trade route. It was a southern trade route to go to India. And it was occupied, I think, by what they call the Turkish Empire, and you had the Persian Empire. And how you doing? Hey. And you had the Persian Empire, and they were selling people. It was a major slave trade, and it was a symbol like I forget the terms that she used, but they were white. They had white skin, porcelain white. Some had afro, like see my hair. They had hair like mine. They had this a beautiful picture of this lady. She had like one hand on her hip. And she was very slender. She had a tiny waist, very, very curvy. Petite. She looked like she was a petite person, but still curvy. And she had her hair, like it was all standing up and like really spongy looking. It looked fantastic. Her costume, or the traditional dress, was absolutely gorgeous. It was snug fitting. Oh, look at this. It's nice. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, it was very snug fitting. And these people, even though they're very, they're white in complexion, they got that afro hair. But these people were the symbol of beauty. That's right. Yes, slavery, it goes beyond just Africa. It was a major slave trade with these people. They were selling people in like the Persia, which is also named Iran or Iran. And what else? Oh, getting my breath. Okay, I'm gonna go on a different route today. Rather going straight. Oh no, I was gonna make that one. That's right. No, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go straight. Yeah, this is the route I usually take. But I'm just gonna go this way. So I think they all lead to the same spot anyway. Oops. Sorry. So, yeah, this is nice. Um, yeah, I can hear the crickets and everything. So, yeah, so these women, they the women seem to get paid more. Like if you get a young woman by the age of 13 to, I think they said it was 18 to 20. No, I'm sorry, 13 to like 20. That was considered like the prime age that they want. So it just goes to show that these men want young girls. See, men always want young women slash pedophilia, right? Oh, oh, this is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. Very nice. It's nice. So, so the women that was in the slave trade, they did also take men also, but they were taking trafficking women. And the women of this sex trade, slave trade, was considered a beauty to possess. And they would have like paintings of these women naked. You know, I think the Venus de Milo, those, I'm gonna make a left here. Those pictures, those are white ladies that are naked and they're like lying around. That is the slave. I kid you not. These are slave women. But see, when that slave trade ended, they did not specify why that trade ended. And she didn't specify how long it lasted, but it was a major one. And soon after that ended, the transatlantic slave trade, as you know it, kicked in. So hey guys, I'm sorry. My camera, my camera ran out. I forgot to delete some information on it. Yeah, my phone is at capacity. So I do a video, upload it, and then I delete it from my phone. I forgot to delete it. So that's what happened. So I was talking about the white slavery. And yeah, so the female was considered in that area um, a, a valuable, let's say. And so anything that looked like her, they had her nude. And so the Venus de Milo, I think, also is reminiscent of this woman, porcelain white skin, and they never really specify what her features look like, but the picture of that woman with hair like mine could be, a lot of features are really any race could have. You have the so-called classic European, the classic African, but you have so much blending over time. Anybody can really have any nose and any, it's just how it is. So, so what's the point about that woman? Yeah, so to link in now with Brazil. No, we're not going to go in there. Now, do you notice with Brazil? Now, Brazil had slavery, and it too uses the what they call the mulatress to be almost like the same type of Venus de Milo, a symbol of sexuality, of beauty. And I did a video regarding that a couple of months ago, regarding like Brazil's carnival, the carnival queen, and the woman that was dark-skinned black woman that was won the title, and then they took it away. So yeah, they said that they wanted the traditional looking. No, Lavin. Sorry. Come on. Come, come on. Come on. Sorry. Yeah, they wanted the traditional so-called caramel color black female, which is a representation of the African woman's womb that had been violated and conquered by the white male / Portuguese. So, so just as you have that, the Brazilian woman, sexuality, and anything that looks like her as representative, what's sexually attractive, the same as the Venus de Milo, and the sex trade. I mean, I kept saying sex trade. I meant to say slave trade. Yeah, they traded men, women, but it seemed like it was a heavy desire for acquiring women, especially young women. So that's basically that I have to say today. So again, I talked about the relationships of women, and during slavery or right after slavery, you did have men who had slaves, who married or had children with women, black women, and then post-slavery you also had the children of slaveholders marrying black women or mixed race women and then having children with them. So it is what it is, and it's something the woman, I mean, I wonder why they call it history. They should have her story, because if the womb could talk, just imagine the secrets it has. So with that last note, I'm just going to be signing off. You take care and enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Bye-bye.